exist. We will begin this interaction this evening of your time with the understanding that the transformation of consciousness that you are undergoing upon your planet at this time involves the very simple concept of learning to be in love with the entire world in which you exist, learning to be in love with the entirety of the multiverse, with the entirety of creation. Love is the primary vibration out of which everything has been created by the infinite Creator in that way. Love is the infinite Creator. It is the very substance, the very fabric that you experience as your manifestable reality. Love. You have talked about it for quite some time upon your planet. You have recognized its existence for quite some time in your civilization. But many of you have not realized that what you are actually talking about, what you are actually discussing, is the very essence of creation itself, the very fabric out of which everything is created. All of your experiences, all of physical reality, all the non-physical reality, any experience, any conception, any imagination pulls from the fiber of love itself the energy that is required for the concept, for the idea to blossom into a type of reality that can be experienced by your form of consciousness, whatever form you have created your consciousness to be. So, in the idea of learning how to create the realities you wish to create, learning how to create the realities you desire to create upon your planet in the way you wish them to be, it is all the process, if you will, of learning how to be in love, how to identify with that vibratory, fundamental basic out of which you create everything anyway. You are all natural creators. You are all automatic creators. We are not discussing that you must learn something new that you do not already do. We are simply here to assist you in realizing that you create your reality anyway, and that if you simply are willing to shift the focus of how you create that reality, then you will be able to perceive and experience the type of reality you say you prefer. Is all of this translating so far into your language appropriately? Do you understand?
Yes.
In this way, therefore, with each and every individual and collective interaction this evening of your time, do allow yourself to recognize that the whole idea and the whole process of understanding, the whole process of learning, is not the idea of truly learning something new, but the process of remembering more and more of what you already are. For created in the image of the infinite Creator you were, and that means you are an infinite Creator. Therefore, when you allow yourself to truly work with and not against the fabric of love out of which all reality is created, when you blend with that flow, then you will be able to sculpt your reality out of that love into any form that represents your true heart's desire. We, at this time, before we interact in sharing, will extend to you our appreciation and deepest gratitude in allowing us to interact with you in this way, for through this interaction, we, as a civilization, get to experience all the loving ways that each and every one of you have uniquely decided to create the reality that you are. For each and every one of you is made of love, and therefore, in a fundamental sense, everything you do is an act of love. We simply accept the invitation from you to reflect back to you your memory that you can live consciously in the manner that lets you know you are a creation of love and light. We find you. You may, if you wish, proceed with your interaction.
What do you physically look like?
In your terminology, you would describe us as of average 5 feet of your height, slender in form, humanoid, as you would call it, though in our perspective, perhaps, you would be humanoid to us if we consider ourselves to be that human form. In this way, we are white, whitish-gray skin coloration, very wide upturned eyes, as you would call it, very large pupils that would make our eyes seem almost entirely black, although they are actually grayish-white in color. We would most closely approximate what you would call your Eurasian racial blend, if you wish some sort of comparison that you are familiar with. So we are more slender in that way, but that will suffice.
Are you familiar with the movie that's playing right now, Star Trek 4?
It is within the memory of the channel. Okay.
What's your impression of that?
It is an indication that your consciousness collectively is beginning to recognize that on your very own world you have had for some time another alien species, what you call the cetacean, whale and dolphin. This is, in that sense, an accurate representation, insofar as it points out that the whale-dolphin life form on your planet is intelligent and in communication with extraterrestrial consciousness and has been for quite some time. Specifically, however, the consciousness that you would call the star Sirius in your language, that is one of the primary civilizations that has been in telepathic communication with the whales and dolphins of your world. Also that which you call Arcturus.
Is there a lot of life throughout the universe?
It is the rule rather than the exception. You will find that life will blossom in whatever form it is capable of blossoming, wherever the conditions in any form, on any level, will allow it. And this is basically throughout creation. Of course, in one sense, everything is alive. Since everything is created from consciousness, everything in that sense is, in a sense, alive.
Why do you channel through Gerald? Why not come down in person?
We have made an agreement with this individual prior to this life to assist you in this way. Coming down in person, as you say, is not impossible and will be able to occur more often in your very near future, within the next decade, as you count time, no longer than 30 of your years maximum. But the reason for why we do not invoke mass landings at this time is because this is your world. And you are choosing to rearrange and operate your world according to your own whims and desires. We cannot interfere with that idea, and until you decide to function as a unified planet that is willing to function in concert with other unified planets, we cannot force this point of view upon you. Do recognize, your governments are very well aware of our existence. But because you have created your society in layers that can hide information from other layers, then many of your members do not know of our existence, although many of the mainstream members, as you call them in your society, within your government, do. The idea is not to force ourselves upon you. The idea is to simply let you know, when you are willing to know, that we exist and we are waiting to expand and share with you many different ideas. Now, physiologically and psychologically, there is also a reason for the amount of time the interaction between your civilization and our civilization is taking. Your civilization operates at a different frequency, in a sense, than ours. Everything is made of different frequencies of energy, of the primal energy of creation. Not in any way, shape, or form do we mean this in a derogatory sense. But because of what you have created your society to be, you operate on a very low, slow frequency. Societies that function as whole unified worlds operate on a very accelerated and high frequency. When those two frequencies are brought together, the higher energy would have a tendency to overwhelm the lower energy and force the lower energy to speed up, much in the same way that a faster turning gear will impart more energy to a slower turning gear, and even though the faster gear will slow down to some degree, the slower gear will speed up more greatly by comparison. In forcing the lower energy to become faster, it will bring to the surface many of the things within your embodied unconsciousness that you may not be willing or ready to face, forcing upon many members of your society a psychotic shock for something they are not ready to handle within themselves. So we will maintain our distance until you are willing and ready to create equality within your own selves, equality with each other, and that to us will be the signal that you will be capable of consciously functioning on an equal level with other whole civilizations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shooting! Not all at once.
Bashar.
Yay!
Hi.
Hi.
How do you feel about being on television tonight?
any opportunity that you have co-created with us to allow other individuals to recognize that they can create the reality they desire will be most enjoyed by us. We thank you.
Great.
Do you wish to share something else?
Well, I'd like to share with you that I'm going to go be with the dolphins next October in Monkey Maya, Australia.
Have a wonderful time.
Thanks. It's the first time I've ever planned a trip to this country.
One moment. We will thank you as well for your participation and interaction within what you call your technological media. Have a wonderful and exciting time within your Monkey Maya area. You will find that you will begin to be able to truly share a common dream with them. Your life will become very much more dream-like. You will recognize that your physical reality is literally a dream. Sharing.
Bashar,
Yay!
have you any suggestions as to the individual's ability to accelerate their own evolution, which will eventually, I'm sure, accelerate the collective consciousness? But any specific direction as to how to accelerate our own years?
Absolutely. Each and every individual need only follow one simple point. Do what excites you the most in your life with complete integrity. That's it. You will then, by following what excites you the most, be truest and in synchronous harmony and in synchronous accord with the path you chose to be as the individual you chose to be in this physical life. So when you follow what moves you, what allows you to experience that knowingness within you, that truth that is true for you, you will then be glowing and shining most brightly as the facet of the multidimensional crystal you chose to be, and that is how you will have the greatest impact on the total crystal, by fully being the facet you are, by being truest to yourself, by doing in your life what excites you the most, knowing and trusting beyond the shadow of a doubt that you will be supported 100% by the universe in your choosing to do so. You follow me?
I do. I have one question.
All right.
I have personally experienced moments where there's a dichotomy or a split in my excitement.
That is one of the definitions of your world, or has been, the experience of dichotomy or polarity. Please continue.
And the frustration to me is that it takes me away from that moment of clarity. And I'm aware that the dichotomy is an illusion, and still I step to one side and look at it, and the other side and look at it, and I feel I'm being fooled by my own inner struggle.
Are you
there
saying...
any suggestions as to how to become very one-pointed about these?
One moment. Understand that it may not need to take a linear form. You are learning to become a generalist. And so in this way, you may find that the way to perhaps perceive your path to be the clearest along a particular line may be to do many different ideas or approach it from many different points of view. The idea, of course, being that change is the only constant and therefore the most stable factor in creation. Now, are you saying that from time to time you may find that there are more than one thing that excites you equally?
No, I don't think that's exactly...
In what format are you expressing your dichotomy? Can you share an example?
It seems to be an internal dialogue between what I find exciting and what I find fulfilling. I don't know exactly how to describe it because it's a subconscious internal dialogue.
All right, one moment.
You got it.
You say, what I find exciting, what I find fulfilling. Why are those two different things?
I don't know.
Are they?
Well, apparently, in some instances in my life, they are.
All right, let me ask you a question if I may I?
Sure.
Thank you. Define exciting.
It seems to be stimulating and
All right.
it activates a lot of energy.
All right, may I ask you another question? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes.
Thank you. Define fulfilling.
Some experience that leaves me with a sense of peace.
A sense of peace.
A sense of quiet. Or I don't know how to describe it. It just leaves me with
One moment. So are you saying that something that stimulates you and something that leaves you with a sense of peace, that's two different things?
It can be, in my experience.
All right. Would you prefer that what excited you also fulfilled you and what fulfilled you also excited you?
Yes, I would.
Why?
Because it feels better that way.
All right. How do you know it feels better that way?
Because of the times when those two energies line up,
Okay.
when they're in alignment, I feel alignment, and there's no static.
All right. Are you saying that when you are fulfilled at the times you experience the idea of quiet peace, that you think that at those times you should be jumping up and down?
No, not at all.
All right.
There's some psychic static that takes place in the questioning of will this thing that appears to excite me eventually, it's a mental head trip.
Finish the sentence. Will this thing that appears to excite me
eventually cause me more distraction, or will it bring me to fulfillment? Or is this
all right.
peace and quiet?
Then once again, allow us to give you the definition of excitement. Mm-hmm. Excitement. Definition. Excitement is the physical. Now, are you paying attention?
I am.
All right. The physical translation of the vibratory energy that represents the path you chose to be in this life. So, on that definition, anytime you follow what truly excites you the most, until you decide that it doesn't, until you invalidate, until you judge that it doesn't, and create the illusion that it seems not to, anytime you follow what excites you the most, it will always lead you, and can only lead you, in directions that will also be fulfillment of the path you chose to be. Because excitement and fulfillment are the same idea. You are choosing to separate them in your definition. And thus you are creating the dichotomy simply because you assume that excitement and fulfillment are two separate things and that one may not lead to the other. Or that they are parallel paths. It is one and the same energy. Excitement is your indicator. Excitement or simple knowingness, which is also fulfillment in a sense, that sense of peace, that is your indicator when something in your life is the thing that will work for you most effortlessly, most easily, most quickly. Because excitement is the physical translation of the vibrational equation, of the vibrational frequency that represents the path you chose to be in this life. It will always lead to fulfillment if you let it. You follow me?
I do.
Does that assist you at all?
It does. I think that the turning point for me is that there are certain scripts I've accepted from the sociological program that give me the illusion that I'm excited or give me the illusion that I'm fulfilled, and it's determining what's truth from my own center as opposed to what's been superimposed by the sociological program.
All right, but that does not have to be in and of itself an unpleasant experience to determine for you what is true. That in and of itself can be a very exciting script. You follow me? So, the more different ways you allow your path of discovering what excites you to be in and of itself exciting, the more excitement you will have. If you continue to say, well, the discovery of what excites me is not exciting, then you yourself are spending energy in ways that you say you don't want to. Allow the discovery of what excites you to be a part of the excitement, and you will find yourself more excited all the time. Because you will then be able to use the methodologies of how you discovered what excites you the most to also assist yourself in the future and assist other individuals when they come to you and say, how did you discover what excited you the most? How can I discover what excites me the most? And you can say, let the path to discover what excites you the most excite you. as much as anything. And then you will attract, in an obvious way, the things that excite you the most. And the whole process, the whole exploration will be exciting. Allow yourself to live with that childlike fascination, the childlike curiosity, rather than the idea of the discriminating, judgmental, invalidating consciousness that says, well, the process in, quote-unquote, getting there, everyone knows that the process has to hurt. Everyone knows that the process itself can't be exciting. Everyone knows, sociologically speaking, that you can only be happy when you finally, somewhere way out there, down the road, oh, who knows, 10, 20, 30, 1,000 years, when you finally get there, then that's exciting. Everyone knows the process, like medicine, is supposed to be bitter. Who says it? No one says it. That's your beliefs, that's your rules. You make them up, you can change them. So if you allow the process itself to be just as exciting, then is when you will paradoxically allow yourself the highest degree of acceleration in your life, because what you are doing is allowing where you are to be a valid part of the path you chose to be, rather than something that is an interruption in that path or a rough spot on that path. You recognize that everything in your life is in your life for a reason, and that you can use it with that attitude. And if you do, then using what is in your life with a positive attitude will allow all the things you desire in life to reach you and approach your presence much more rapidly. You follow? Thank you very much for being willing to share of that unique perspective that you are. We thank you. Sharing.
Bashar,
Hey.
are you familiar with a channeling that's come in two books? One is called Right Use of Will, the other one is Original Cause. Are you familiar with that energy at all?
Define.
Well, it's written as if it's in the first person of God. That God is speaking and is channeling through this woman. And its second book, Original Cause, is speaking about the beginning of creation, as if God is speaking in first person, describing how creation came about and how things got kind of, say, screwed up in the beginning.
You will, of course, find, as we perceive this particular energy, that what you are, quote-unquote, reading to some degree will be an interpretation in your symbolic terms. Some ideas may be, quote-unquote, on some level, literal. But many of the ideas, while they are not in essence incorrect, are translated into symbology and terms that make sense in your language, and so may not be directly representative of, quote-unquote, an actual description of an event, but in essence they describe the event. You follow me?
Yes. And
now,
it actually was described that way in the book. I mean, before it started, it said it. Well, are you familiar with this concept of how this book went, or should I try and describe a little bit to you?
You don't have to try, you can simply describe it.
Okay. It spoke about in the beginning that God became aware of himself.
Yes, self-awareness, self-knowingness, the first primal separation, the first creation.
Yes. And then he became aware of another presence inside himself. He was looking to see if there was anything else out there or in there. Discovered something else in there, which was feeling. And when he put his attention on this feeling, sometimes it felt good, sometimes it felt bad. When it felt bad, he decided, I don't want this. Toss it out of himself.
No.
Okay.
Understand. All that is, what you refer to colloquially as God, infinite creation, is everything that is all that is. And all that is knows there is nothing outside. There is nowhere to get rid of anything to. All that is acknowledges and accepts all portions of itself as all that is, or it would not function as all that is. It recognizes the idea of itself as polarity. In this way, therefore, it is simply an opportunity for any fragment of all that is to express itself through either polarity gate, either in positive integrated waves or negative segregated waves. But in that way, all that is did not attempt to get rid of any portion of itself because there was nowhere to put it. All that is literally all that is. You follow me?
Yes.
Now, again, the story is being put, I do not mean this in a derogatory fashion, in a very storybook format for certain levels of consciousness on your planet to be able to, as you say, get the point in terms they are already familiar with. Because your society thinks that there can be an outside, thinks that there can be a truly objective universe rather than a completely subjective one, thinks that there truly is right, wrong, good and evil, rather than simply the idea of positive and negative expression. Right, wrong, good and evil only being subjective value judgment and not necessarily an indication of whether positive or negative energy is being used. So it is being put in a format that certain individuals will be able to understand. But it is, let us say, again, not meaning to be derogatory and not meaning to be judgmental, extremely simplified in concept. You follow me?
Yes. What is your concept of God, or is there this original cause? When I started off this dialogue, I said God became aware of himself, and you said yes.
In a sense, although it always was and always will be and is now, in a sense there really is no beginning and really no ending. When we talk of original causes, we are, again, also, quote-unquote, forced to use terminology. That is your third-dimensional terminology, the terminology that makes the most sense to your analytical consciousness. But there really is nothing that began, per se. Time, space are your concepts. They are your illusions. In a sense, within the framework of space-time illusion, you can say there are beginnings and endings. But from the point of view of all that is, it always was and always will be. There are transformations that are ongoing within it constantly, but all those transformations from its point of view all occur simultaneously. You follow me?
Yes. And do you accept that, like, all that is always has been? Do you accept that as an intellectual understanding or as an experiential reality?
As an experiential knowingness.
Okay, so you're just trusting in yourself.
Absolutely.
And knowing that if it feels right, it's like that makes sense to you.
You can look at it from what you call a pragmatic point of view, and this we can share with you in your language. Do you exist? Yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. Recognize, therefore, if you exist now, you always will, and you always have. You see, your assumption that you may cease to exist, or that there was a time when you didn't, comes from a belief in your society that existence can become non-existent. But it can't. Non-existence and existence are already both, quote-unquote, real. Non-existence is already full of everything that will never exist. Existence is already full of all the things that will always exist. One does not become the other. They are the polarities of creation itself. They do not shift into each other. Therefore, if you exist now, you always have and you always will. Perhaps not in a specific format that you find your consciousness to be embodied in now. Although, again, everything being simultaneous, in a sense, your body, the body you are now, has always existed. From some points of view, you can say it existed in potential. But still, to other points of view, that is the same thing as saying it always exists. Because different levels of reality, no matter how rarefied they are physically, are just as solid, so to speak, and just as real to non-physical consciousness as your physical reality is as solid to you, as a physical being. Now, time, again, and space are your illusions. Allow me to ask you a question. You exist in the present. Understand, you always will. You do not in the sense, experientially exist in the past. You do not experientially exist in what you call the future. You only ever experience your existence in the present as what you call now. You follow me?
Yeah.
You always will.
Yeah.
You always will. It will always ever, forever, be now to you. It will never be any other time but now. Therefore, what you call the past and what you call the future are actually being created in the present, from the present. It is not truly linear. That is your illusion. Therefore, you will always exist in the now. It will always be now, and now is eternal, forever. If you are aware of yourself now, you always will be, because it will always be now, and never will it be any other time. Now, whether this makes some sense or not in your language, that is the way that we can translate the concept best into your terminology. Has it assisted you at all?
Yes, and could you just further say, how could I, as an individual or a group of people, help us stay in now?
There is really no other time you can be in, but we understand what you mean. Yes, it seems that way. You can allow yourself to remain in now the most, once again, by acknowledging that everything that occurs in your life occurs for a reason. And allow yourself to recognize that nothing in your life, no matter what you change it into, will actually be better, in a sense, in a judgmental sense, than what you are doing now. It will be different. It can be more expanded. It can be grander in many ways. But in a qualitative sense, it will not be better. It will simply be different. Allow yourself to recognize that many of you do not live in the now because you are seeking to achieve perfection. You will never achieve perfection because you're already perfect now. At any given moment, you are the perfect manifestation of what you are being in that moment. What you will be in the next moment will be a different manifestation of perfection. Not a better one, a different one. But everything you do will be a perfect manifestation of the thing you are doing, even if it is perfect misery. It is still a perfect manifestation of misery. Now, if you don't prefer that, then you can change that. But the way to change it most quickly and most easily is, if you find that your life at any given moment is the way you don't prefer it to be, to acknowledge that because you create your reality, you chose to have your life be that way. You are in control of your life all the time. Even when you create the illusion that you are out of control, you're controlling it. And if you feel out of control, you must have had a good reason to believe that you can be. Perhaps if only to discover what it is like to feel like you're out of control and then decide, I don't prefer to feel this way. Now that I know I chose to create a feeling of being out of control, I know I can choose to know I am in control, and therefore everything changes. Now I will do what I prefer to do, which is what I was doing then by choosing to feel like I was out of control. But then I didn't know it, because the definition of being out of control is simply creating a momentary ability to forget that you are in control all the time. You are that much of a creator. You are so powerful of a creator, you have the ability to forget you are the creator. But at any moment, you can remember that you created forgetfulness, and then you will remember that your life can be whatever you choose it to be. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much for remembering who you are.
Yes, sir.
Yay!
I'd like to know what the next step is in planetary communication via television or consciousness networking for particular motion picture products. What do you see the next few years hold for the enlightenment of the masses viewed as mass media, such again television or film?
It will depend upon the subject matter you wish to deliver, but much of it, as it already has been, can be utilized to deliver many messages that you do, in fact, again, create your own reality. In this way, at the same time, you will find that what you call your media can also get to the point where ideas themselves can be shared from individual to individual or from group to group without what you would call the telepathically created technological symbol that you call your television equipment or radio equipment, and you can use the telepathic medium itself. Now, you will find that there can be many, let us say, intermediate devices that will operate through electromagnetic, ethereomagnetic, and electronic frequencies that will also be able to tap into what you call the non-physical dimensions, particularly what you would call the lower astral. You will be able to invent devices through which beings that have been physical and are no longer physical can communicate with beings that are still physical. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
This is up and coming, as you say, and will broaden your understanding of what communication and interaction is all about, and the fact that once something exists, it never does not exist, and that you have the ability to retrieve, quote-unquote, anything by tuning your frequency to the appropriate band. You will begin to learn through your technology that you can actually focus on and locate any point in space and time anywhere in the universe and have it right there in front of you on your screen. When you begin to use the universe as the holographic matrix that it is, you will be able to call out the coordinates of any time and space and present them to you on your screen. You follow? We perceive this to be also up and coming in your technology. But again, it is up to you. Perhaps, in a sense, the most important question, because you are living in your world that uses these devices, is what do you see as the next step? What do you wish to do with that medium? And when you find what it is, do it. Then you will have made the difference and you will have co-created the change. Then you will know. Follow your excitement.
Sure.
Does that assist?
Very much, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jay.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm delighted to meet you. You are so familiar to me, and I've never seen you in your physical.
Not many people have.
Nor have I seen Gerald in physical, so, and you're very familiar.
So are all of you. What is familiar about us is a certain portion of yourself that you have forgotten up to now, which you have allowed us to simply remind you of, reflect back to you. But in many ways, we are also familiar on many different levels because many of you, in your own dream realities, actually visit many other civilizations all the time. You are very busy when you are all asleep. You are not dormant in the least. As a matter of fact, many of you are highly active, maybe more active than you are in physical life.
Yeah.
You have identified with us, with our vibrational pattern, because in many ways, some literal and some allegorical, our civilization actually does symbolize your own future self.
Yeah.
So you are familiar with that vibratory frequency. You are simply finding it as a lure and an attractant into more and more of what you know you are all becoming. We thank you for allowing us to shine that back to you.
Right. I have a question.
Yay.
I have been working as an instrument of the awakening here in Hawaii.
Of course.
And I have a question on why, actually, but why am I able to channel an extraterrestrial? It started about 6, maybe 8 weeks ago, and I'm one of 3 people that I know, and I don't see us as doing what Daryl's doing.
It does not have to be that way.
You know, what's the purpose?
First of all, do recognize that our job is being done most correctly when you do not need us anymore. Therefore, you will find that this methodology is not the way that it is paramount for the channeling to occur. You have made your own associations because many of you have many lives in other civilizations as well, and you may be forming reconnections to portions of your own family that are willing to assist you just far enough to get you in touch with a portion of yourself that can then do the work.
Yes.
You follow me?
Yes.
That's the primary reason. They are acting as guides for you.
Okay.
Not that you have to manifest it in this way, but that you be willing to let yourself be inspired by what you feel to manifest what you want in your physical reality in your own way. That is the whole idea why we are interacting with all of you anyway, to get you to realize you all have the ability to channel your higher self, and that all of you also have connections to many other levels of consciousness and many other civilizations. None of you, in a sense, are original to this planet we call Earth. So many of you will simply reform the familial connections you have had from many different lives and many different time tracks, and allow that, now that this is the transformational life, to all come together in whatever format you needed to come together to be of service in the assistance of the transformation. That's why.
Yes, it feels like family. It's a nice word, familial.
Yay.
Yes, it feels like that.
Okay. I do not have any with me. There are many individuals that you are surrounded with that can supply you with much information now that you have made it known that this is what you request. You will find that what you call your literature revolved around the entity known as Self will be very beneficial in many ways.
Okay.
If you are not already familiar with that.
Oh, I'm familiar with Self. I thought maybe for training myself a bit further.
We perceive that there are a few, but not many. Again, perhaps simply the experiences of different channels, if they have recorded them, can be of benefit, but recognize this. If you have made such an agreement, you will always attract yourself to whatever training you need, and always rely upon your own imagination. That is what your imagination is for. It is the tool that is most accurately tuned to the vibratory awareness of your being. And therefore, if you believe you need a ritual, if you believe you need a methodology, if you believe you need a technique or an exercise, ask your higher self through your imagination, what will work best for me? And then don't invalidate what you get, no matter how silly it may seem. Trust the vibratory awareness of your gateway imagination through to your higher consciousness, and allow yourself to recognize that you always have the ability to get your own answers in that way. One way that might assist you would be to open up that gate and open up that communication in a very relaxed and meditative state. Perhaps being immersed in almost body temperature water would be of great assistance. You follow me?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bashar.
Yay.
First, one real quick question. Do you eat?
Oh, right.
Do you eat where you're from?
Not so much the physical food anymore, no more. It is direct energy absorption. As many of you are also beginning to lean towards, but not quite yet.
The other thing is, well, if we're reaching, I feel it like subliminally, if you could reach another civilization in the universe. And what I'm wondering is, wouldn't it be fun to really get into a spaceship and go to another civilization?
Yes, it is.
And so I was just wondering what you see.
As we have said,
moving.
our interactions with you from our point of view will occur within the next decade to 30 of your years. Also, much sooner than that, you will begin to discover that there are groups on your own world that are already experimenting with similar technologies. You have had the technology on your planet to visit other worlds for quite some time. But because of the type of governmental system you have created, much of the information has been suppressed. Now much of this information is coming to the surface with everything else that you are now bringing to the surface to get it all out in the open, and you will find that within the next 3 of your years, and primarily within this, your present year, primarily within the spring and summertime of this year, there will be much revelation of information that you have had this technology all along, and different groups upon your planet will begin to utilize this information to create your own version of spacecraft, and then you see the whole idea is that you will be able to meet us halfway.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Look into the work of the individual you knew as Nikola Tesla. That individual knew how to create those devices in principle. Also, you will find, coming out of many different areas around your planet, this information, simply as you say, keep your eyes and your ears open.
Bashar, very quickly, and I know others are talking too. Why are we all locking our doors all the time?
You are opening them now. This is the end of the cycle of limitation, whereas you have kept the doors locked. You are now beginning to realize that you yourselves have the keys to unlock them, whereas before, you did not know you had the key, you did not even know there was a door. Now you know. You follow me? The idea of all the limitation you have ever experienced, however, has also served a purpose. For now, you are masters of limitation. You have done it all in such a highly concentrated state that you are now the experts on limitation. Any other planet wants to know what's it like. Now that you have done it all, you have now found the door out of that particular room and are entering another room where you do not need to play that game any longer, for now it has served you. You follow me?
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you very much. We love you as well.
Bashar?
You, then you.
Could you tell us, or expand on the idea of the difference between out-of-body
literal experience as it is in simply recognizing that your body is a part of your consciousness, not that your consciousness exists in your body.
Right.
So, out of body is more of an expansive point of view where you recognize that the body is in consciousness. And you simply blow up like a balloon to include the body, but also contain perspectives that are, quote-unquote, beyond the definition of the body. It is viewing through another portion, or as a greater portion of the self. Look at it as if you were a sphere. On that sphere is a dot. Now that dot can move all over the skin of the sphere, and it can also move within the sphere to any point.
Right.
That dot represents at any given moment where you are focused, where you are looking, and what determines your reality. Therefore, the idea is that if you have the outline of a little body on the surface of that sphere, when the dot is on the surface and in that outline, you are focused as a physical consciousness. When it then moves perhaps backwards into the sphere, you then perceive yourself to be quote-unquote out of body, but all you are in is a different portion of the pool of the energy that is the sphere of reality and experience that you are. It is not that you have actually left the body anywhere. You have simply refocused yourself to a different portion of the total idea of which the body is only one part. Therefore, remote viewing and lucid dreaming and all of these experiences of different planes of awareness are all simply viewing yourself through different locations within the overall energy sphere that you are. You follow?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One moment. You, then you.
First of all, this information about advanced space flight, is that known at the governmental level?
Some. Do understand that many of your governments actually have in what you call their possession some extraterrestrial crafts.
Yes, have they been able to derive enough theory and technology from these crafts in order to make their own?
Some, but not fluidly. For they are missing out on several understandings that consciousness is a part of the equation in understanding the technology. And in this way, also, some of the materials are a little bit, as you say, beyond their capability to penetrate. But they have applied some of this technology to some degree now and then, and in a sense, even before they had possession, were working on some of these understandings. They do understand some of the basic principles, but again, as long as they choose to utilize them for the idea of self-empowerment and gain in that way, selfishly, you will find that some of the principles will not work because they are only based on an integrated point of view.
Are these technologies being used in our space programs at the moment? It makes me angry that the Challenger would blow up in mid-flight and not have the benefit of any advanced technology that was available.
All right, but do understand that that event, and then the fulcrum point of your country's interaction with Libya, and then the polarity event of what you would call the disaster in Soviet Union Chernobyl are three parts of the same overall event to begin to bring what is within to the surface. Those three events are the fulcrum points between third and fourth density in your particular world format that allow you to realize that the only reason that those so-called disasters happen is because you think that what is within you if it comes out, will destroy you in that way. Because you create yourself, you have many cracks, many leaks in the surface idea that you are, rather than looking at yourself in an integrated way. Again, we recognize the idea you are expressing, but there is no real reason to be angry at them in that sense, for you're only being angry at a portion of yourself, because you are your governments. You have created your world to be the way it is, each and every individual. The idea is to glean from those events what you can glean out of them in a positive way. Do understand, it is no accident, as there are no accidents, that in what you call your shuttle event, there was a teacher. She has taught her lesson. If you are willing to receive it, you will recognize, as you are recognizing, that there are other ways, simpler methods, and this is one of the things that your government is also beginning to learn. But because of what you have created your government to be, they may act like they are getting it a little more slowly than what you call the mainstream of society. But the more you interact with them, not in an accusatory manner, not in an angry manner, but in a loving manner, in a sharing manner, in an unconditionally loving manner, and express to them that you believe in peace, that you know there are other ways that are simpler, there are other ways that are more indicative of using the reality that exists, rather than attempting to ram your way through walls, then perhaps they will begin to shift their programs toward the type of programs that will allow them to share the information with you, rather than thinking that by doing so they will lose their power. You see, they are only, quote-unquote, afraid of losing their power in that way over you. What they do not understand is that by sharing with you, they will gain their own self-empowerment, and everything will equal out, and that the government can do what a government needs to do, and that is serve you, not rule you. But all of these events are bringing all of these ideas out in the open and forcing them to face the different portions of themselves that are not working fluidly. So in this way, if you are going to feel something, you can feel anger if you wish, we would suggest that you redirect your energy not into the idea of anything prolonged, not into the idea of judgment, not into the idea of hate, not into the idea of frustration or guilt or accusation, but allow the anger to serve you naturally. Anger is only for the purpose of allowing you, when you see something go on in life, to align with what you know is true for you and what you know can be possible. Then there is no need for the judgment and no need for the negative feelings from that point forward. Now the situation has aligned you. Now you know how you can serve by suggesting alternatives to your government and allow them to hear the words of all of you saying, we believe in peace. Let's do it this way, shall we, together? With all. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
If you believe in peace, then you do not have to hate war. You follow? You do not get peace by hating war. You only get peace by loving. Hate only reinforces the things you say you do not prefer, because that's what you're focusing on. Be peace. Live peace. Breathe peace. Share peace. Love. Love. Unconditional love will transform your entire world in the twinkling of an eye. Unconditional love for all. Yes, no, maybe.
Doing my best.
Yes, you are. Don't forget that. Thank you. Right.
Yes, Bashar, along the theme of unconditional love, I'd like to share and invite your reflection on something that happened last night with the channel, Daryl and his fiancée and myself. We went to a hotel in the Waikiki area where there were dolphins.
Right.
And it was, well, there were several interesting and synchronous things that happened. First of all, it was night, and so we were able to go out to the pool. There were very few people around, except a young girl sitting on the stone bridge with her feet in the water, and I talked to her and found out the names of the dolphins. She knew them. She'd been there several times.
Yeah.
And then one of the dolphins, two of them were cruising the pool, and the other one, Eva, was coming up and listening to us and being with us. And then at one point she began to play with this leaf in the water and tossed it over and had me get it and throw it to her. And then she went down and took it to Daryl and to Erica. And while this was going on, I mean, we were so ecstatically delighted at her willingness to play with us. And I was also intrigued because I found out that there was one male and two female dolphins, and I thought that we had come with a little triad of ambassadors representing the humans, and we were also one male and two females, which was fun. What I would like to know from you is how much of the interaction of energy between Sirius, represented by Papa, yourself representing Epiphi, and Daryl representing Earth, that triad, was how much of that energy was this particular dolphin aware of?
Say 30%. The idea of the environment in which those beings are kept has to some degree altered their ability to perceive certain ideas as they are, in a sense, numbed to certain energies because of the environment.
Yes, I do.
But the energy was present, it was sensed, and an awakening also occurred, not only in you, but also in the dolphins.
That's lovely.
Thank you for your interaction and your willingness to begin and open up communication and allow yourself to act as ambassadors as well in the other direction.
Thank you. It was totally delightful.
Sure. Okay. Oh, one moment. It is once again time for what you call a public service announcement. Do realize, each and every one of you, that you have chosen to be in this gathering for your own reason. And no matter what any individual may have to share, there is always some way that you can apply the idea to yourself, even though there may be relative different degrees of significance to you. There are no boring situations in life, only bored minds. Allow yourself to recognize that it is no accident that you are hearing what you are hearing from any individual, and that if you allow your childlike fascination and curiosity to come to the surface, everything everyone says and everything anyone does will be able to be applicable to you, if only to give you an appreciation of the infinitely wondrous orchestration with which all of these interactions are taking place, because there is not one single factor that is an accident in this orchestration. Not the colors of the clothes you are wearing that each other is seeing, not what your names are, not how you are sitting, not how you are breathing, not what you are saying. None of it is an accident. It is all there so that you can support each other in the total interaction that we are together, so that each and every one of you will be able to get out of it what you wish. Thank you. Proceed. Thank you.
Along the lines of the communication, a group of us in our human dolphin journey that we've been doing, we went out into deep sea the other day and got into like limitless blue-green water. And I became fascinated with diving down into the light reflections that seemed just to go on forever. And as we were returning to the boat, we spent some time just going down a little bit in the water and just by your excitement and our co-creation. So.
Thank you. And you can also use that to allow yourself to remember at any given time that just as you were able to hear the whale through the medium of the water, you are all connected in an energy sea as well, of electromagnetic, ethereal-magnetic energy. That is what your consciousness uses to create your mass consciousness, your mass mentality in physical terms. It is through that energy sea that you are all, whether you know it or not, constantly communicating telepathically with each other. When you allow yourself to float in a peaceful state, in the energy sea in which you are all immersed, you will be able to hear not only each other, but every single consciousness within creation. In whatever way you desire to tune your consciousness, that is what you will receive. In much the same way, you have created what you call your television and radio. Recognize all of the frequencies, all of the programs are there at the same time. Immersing the device in an energy sea of radiation, you get the one you tune into at any given moment. But they are all there all the time. Swim in that sea and extend your antenna in whatever direction, space or time, and do you all wish to take a short break?
Sounds good.
Enjoy, and we will resume shortly. All right, okay, Sherry. Thank you, then you.
I have some questions about marriage.
Oh, right.
Right now I feel so confused about it.
Confused?
It's hard for me to ask the questions
Is all right. Simply allow me to remind you once again that confusion is co-fusion, fusion with more of yourself. It is a limbo state that allows you to view many more probabilities than the mind that you usually function as previously conceived were possible for you. So in confusion, you unlock from previously held concepts and allow yourself to examine new concepts. It is only a limbo state for a while because you have not yet chosen to re-lock into any particular concept. But confusion is a very flowing, active, creative, energetic state in many ways, and so you can come from that point of view, come from that place of harmony, and allow yourself to recognize you will say precisely what you need to say.
Okay, I entered a marriage on the belief system that could be a path to me to much higher level of consciousness.
And obviously in many ways it was. Because whatever it is you are considering now obviously resulted from what you chose to do then. And so if you're willing to let anything in your life serve you as a learning process, you can recognize you are now functioning in a different plane of awareness because of the situation you chose to create and attract into your life.
It's true. And I'm now experiencing a lot of daily things which I would prefer not to experience. I would prefer to experience more peace.
All right.
Ease.
All right. Then, all you need to do in order to create that in your life is be true to yourself and not be responsible for other individuals, which you cannot be anyway. You're only responsible to other individuals, not for them, to them. You are responsible to other individuals by being the fullest representation of the individual you know you are. By functioning within your integrity and knowing that as long as you are not consciously and maliciously doing something to hurt someone else, then what you do, according to what you know to be true for you, is what you need to do in life. And that doing it is what will allow you to create harmony and happiness and ecstasy in your life, regardless of what any other individuals in your society may wish you to believe will happen within what they choose to experience in their life based upon what you choose to do. You follow me?
Yes.
Well.
Well, there seems to be an insinuation in your statement about what I could do to create that.
What excites you the most? What would you prefer to do to create happiness in your life? Can you allow yourself to come up with something without putting what you accept as society's restrictions on the statement? What would make you happy? What do you wish to do? Keep it simple.
Yeah, I've always felt that what would make me the happiest would be to live on the beach here and not have to work.
All right. Recognize, first of all, that if you are willing to do at any given moment what excites you the most, it will always then open you up to attract into your life whatever will also support you in life and be just as exciting. If you are, quote unquote, working at something you do not enjoy, then you are not being true to yourself, and you simply may be creating or buying into the belief that if you are willing to do what excites you the most, that it won't support you. But it can. Or if the immediate thing you do that excites you the most isn't what will support you, it will attract into your life what both excites and supports you. Life does work that way. Nothing is too good to be true. Nothing. You follow me?
Could you repeat that one last sentence?
Nothing is too good to be true. Oh, the one before that. Oh, thank you. Recognize that when you act upon your excitement, you are following in synchronous harmony the vibration of the path you chose to lead. At any given moment, therefore, if you follow what excites you the most at that moment that you have the capability of acting on, you will then link up that situation with whatever other situation needs to come into your life to allow the excitement to continue, to generate the momentum that represents your life, your path, what you chose to be. Excitement is what lets you know what is most true for you. It's your beacon of awareness to know when you are consciously in synchronous harmony with the path you chose to be. And therefore what you can do in life that is most effortless and also able to support you automatically without struggle, without strife, and without trying to make a living. Life and the universe support you. You deserve to be alive. You are alive right now. The universe will always support you by supplying you automatically with whatever opportunities represent your ability to continue to be who you are if you are willing to act that way. The universe always supports you 100% in whatever idea you believe yourself to be most. Now, if you believe, well, I have to struggle in order to make a living, and I believe that nothing that does not contain struggle will work for me, then the universe will support you in that idea 100%. It will say, well, if that's the way you want it, here are the situations that will reinforce the belief in your life that you have that nothing will work for you easily and that you have to struggle in order to live. Here's all the situations that represent the belief you have. These situations are given to you by the universe automatically to show you what your beliefs are, not to prove that you are stuck in anything, not to prove that you have failed at anything, but to show you beyond a shadow of a doubt, look, the reality you get is because that's what you believe to be true. If you don't prefer it, change the belief. When you change the belief, I do deserve to create a reality of effortlessness and ease, and I will be supported, then that's the reality you will get. The universe will support you 100% in that direction. It will say, just as magnanimously and just as equally, well, if that's what you want, here it is. Because now that's what you believe, and as you believe, that's what you experience in physical reality. All you need to do is be willing to recognize that 100% trust in the direction you prefer will create the reality you desire to experience. Do recognize, we are not suggesting that you do something you are not already doing. You are already using 100% of your trust. But you are using 100% of your trust in a direction you don't prefer. So place the 100% trust in a direction you do prefer, and then that's the reality you'll get. It's simple mechanics and simple physics. You follow me?
Yeah, I follow you.
But
okay. Evidently, I believe that in order to get my sustenance, I have to struggle.
all right, but that was then. What about now? You're a different person now.
So, yeah, okay. So I heard your tape, and I heard you last time. I've been listening to it all, and I understand. And I can say, I believe that my life can be easy and that...
Listen. I believe my life can be easy. When? I believe my life is easy. You follow me and see the difference? Yeah. I believe my life can be easy. When? I don't know. Someday. Who knows? I believe my life is easy. Now. You are on the threshold of your believability. You are exploring that threshold. What are you truly willing to believe is possible for you? Listen to the language in which you put it. It will indicate where your threshold of believability is. As soon as the threshold of believability is squarely within you, in the present, then you will experience the life you desire. As long as the threshold of your believability is still out here somewhere in the future, no matter how close it is to you, if it's not in you, you won't experience it. So, you are now exploring where your threshold of believability is. We're getting to that now. Let's do a little interaction that will assist you in recognizing where the threshold of your believability is, all right?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, first of all, begin, and each and every one of you can do this at the same time. First of all, begin by creating for yourself in any way, shape, or form that is comfortable for you. Does not have to be very complicated. It's just anything at all that represents the so-called idealized way you would prefer to live. Have a picture of yourself doing something you would enjoy doing and being supported in that lifestyle. Not having a shadow of a doubt that you are supported, truly feeling that that's the way you live. That is the way you live and everything is just fine. Have that picture in your mind of that idealized state, and then I will ask you a series of questions. All right? Do you have that picture or that feeling? All right. Now, be very honest with yourself and for now, for you, with me, in these answers. Do you think, now really honestly think, that within, say, 10 of your years, that will be enough time for you to be able to create that way of life? Will that be enough time?
Yes.
All right. 5 years?
Yes.
3 years?
Yes.
2? 1 year? Yes. Can you live that way tomorrow?
Yes.
Absolutely?
Yes.
Then you live. Are you being honest?
I know that I can be in that picture and be comfortable with it tomorrow.
All right. That's not what I'm asking you. I am asking you if you truly believe that that's the way you will be living tomorrow. Yes or no? Thank you. Do you truly believe that that's the way you will be living in 3 years?
No.
Do you truly believe that that's the way you will be living in 10 years?
I think. Yes.
Do you truly believe that is, beyond the shadow of a doubt, the way you will be living in 20 years?
No.
Why not?
Because I have a picture of what
So?
So I don't think that the conditions are even going to be available in 20 years.
Understand it as the idealized essence of the way you feel about living. We are not asking you to have a picture that is absolutely structurally rigidized. We are talking about the lifestyle in essence, in the way you feel. In other words, Do you believe that you will be living the way you want to be living, the way you prefer to be living, no matter how that is in 10 years? Do you believe you will be living that way in a month? Do you believe you can be living in the way you prefer to be living, no matter how that is, in 1 year? Do you believe you can do it in 3 years?
I believe I could do it in 1 year.
All right. Are you sure? Can you really feel it?
If I put all my attention on just doing that, yeah.
All right. Why would you do otherwise? Why would you have to put your attention on anything you do not want to do?
I guess because I think that I have to take care of a lot of other interim things.
But understand, when you are doing what truly represents the vibration of your reality, all the details take care of themselves. Not that you will not be doing anything. It is simply that when you live the essential way, when you live in synchronous harmony with the path you chose to be, everything is already on that path in the format it needs to be and will fall into place as it needs to fall to let you continue being the person you chose to be. So you will simply automatically and effortlessly and coincidentally attract into your life all the tools necessary to allow the details to be taken care of. It is all one package. You see, the difficulty you are having is thinking that your life is a series of separated ideas, rather than one homogeneous event, in which everything that truly needs to be done to allow you to be the person you need to be will be taken care of automatically. The things that don't get done, if you are truly being who you know you need to be, don't need to be done to allow you to be that person. You follow me?
Okay, well, I think what I'm getting, which is what I need to get, is that it's more a matter of feeling a state that I want to feel.
Perhaps for you it is, yes. Taking it out of analysis.
Than an acquiring or an attaining some outward form.
Oh, yes. The outward form is only a reflection of the inner knowing. When you create and generate the vibration of the inner knowing, this is the way I am, then your outer reality shows that to you. You don't get the outer reality first before you create the inner belief. You always only get in physical reality what you already believe to be the most likely reality you'll get. And only when you choose to truly believe with your whole heart and soul, this really is what I'm all about. This really is the way I prefer to be. When you generate that feeling and that desire and that energy within you, then your outer reality has absolutely no choice but to reflect that inner feeling, that inner knowingness. Yes? And it is that simple. Letting yourself know that that vibration of truth for you is your vibratory frequency, the vibratory frequency that represents the being you chose to be, you will then tune yourself to that station. When you tune yourself to that station and let your dial remain on that station, only the things that are pertinent to that station can be received by you. And you can't receive anything other than what the station is you are tuned into. But you must decide to tune to that frequency first. Otherwise, you're listening to a program you don't enjoy. Change the dial, and the program will change along with it. All right? You don't have to ask if you can ask.
something else that has come up for me in my life is some months ago I got guidance, let's say, to move from the islands because of the earth changes coming here.
Our understanding, and this goes for all such so-called creation, is as follows. Changes there will be, and there may be isolated events in which individuals may choose to believe they need to experience the transformation in catastrophic or disastrous ways. However, no one needs to experience the transformation in a negative way. If individuals are willing to wake up within themselves now and recognize they deserve happiness without having to go through trials by fire in order to believe they deserve happiness, then they won't have to place themselves in a scenario where they are shaken awake. Allow yourself to simply recognize that any such information is only an opportunity, not an absolute dictum. Only an opportunity to be aware of the energy within you and what reality you choose to believe is more true for you. When you simply recognize that you do not need to experience that type of a tool, then you will find that even if you were to remain in a locale that did experience it, you wouldn't. And that if enough individuals in your locale will understand they do not need to experience it that way, the entire locale will not. You won't. Yes, no, maybe. Not quite. The idea is to simply be in touch with the fact that the so-called future is always fluid. There are many probable realities. And when someone says, or you perceive, well, this is going to happen then, and it's going to be very catastrophic, it is simply one perception of one bandwidth frequency, one probable reality. Now that you are aware that there is energy behind that probable future, if you don't prefer it, you don't have to stay on that frequency. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to move. If you simply find that you are in any locale wherein the majority of consciousness insists on experiencing the transformation in negative ways, in catastrophic ways, in destructive ways, and you simply know you don't need to, then, whether you even try to or not, you will simply attract into your life automatically an opportunity that will remove you from that locale without you even trying, without you even planning to. So if you find yourself following what is most exciting for you, and you simply find yourself not attracting a situation in your life to remove you from the locale you are in, if you do find that the locale you're in is the most exciting locale you would like to be in general, then take it as a sign that you will be able to remain in that locale and that nothing will interrupt the path you chose to lead. Keep over.
And if I find that person
then go to where you find it to be more exciting. But recognize that that doesn't necessarily mean that you are taking yourself out of a place that will experience destruction. You are simply following the flow of your own path and going to where you are most excited to be, to surround yourself with the environment that is then conducive of the idea you are being. That is it. None of your planet has to experience the change in catastrophic ways. None of it has to. Depends on your willingness to wake up now. You follow?
Yes.
All right.
I'm planning a 40-day retreat of silence and partial fast.
Have a wonderful time. 40 days is the typical cycle for the complete transformation of a personality from one phase into another. 40 years in your terms for an entire culture. 7787 will represent the 40th year from 7747 in your counting. Between that time, a whole date, a whole culture has transformed into another culture on your planet, and you will recognize that from 7747, that was the beginning date that your culture, or at least parts of it, became aware beyond a shadow of a doubt that you coexisted with other civilizations in the universe, 7787 will represent the end of the cycle wherein the majority of your world will be aware, at least as a possibility, that other civilizations exist, and will become more and more aware that portions of your government also know that other civilizations exist. 40 years for the change of a personality of an entire civilization, 40 days for the change completely of a personality of an individual. Enjoy.
Is there anything in particular that I should be doing?
Yes.
That you have during those 40 days?
Be yourself completely. Follow your trust, instinct, and intuition. Learn to trust that the universe supports you. Thank you. You have created that particular unique manifestation of your own self-exploration. We thank you for choosing to be so bold. Thank you. Sharing.
Bashar.
You.
Well, I have a sharing and a couple of extras.
All right.
First one is the currency that Pleiades, the star system,
Pleiades, yes.
could also be pronounced play at ease.
Oh! How synchronous of your language.
Also, similar tonality. We've been working with that circle. We've talked to share with us before. And one of the things that came up for that for me was I was on a ship with 4 beings and a very liquid surface on a floor surface. They were working with a set of cubes, kind of balancing down, which I took to mean some level of preparation. Can you tell
Did
me
they
more?
appear to be very short or of your own type?
More of my own type.
All right.
I was wondering if you had any more information about that particular...
It is simply your willingness to identify with them as them and balance yourself along their frequency to become more familiar with them so that you can interact more and more with them.
I was curious what they were doing with those cubes, or balancing those cubes, what that was about.
In a sense, it is the direct infusion of your particular vibratory pattern into what you would call their computer network. A device that can read your energy, freeze it, if you will, into the matrix it represents, and then in that cube form be completely plugged in as what you would call one of the cells of the brain that makes up their computer. So that they will then, with all the individuals they do this with on your planet, have a combined building block style, representational, artificial model consciousness of the collective consciousness of your entire planet.
Yes.
Thank you.
One other thing. These ships that were recently sighted of Air Alaska, Japan Airlines, about a month ago or so, you mentioned that it was a collection of civilization, an association of sorts.
To use an analogy, now we do not mean that this is literal in our terms, but to use the closest analogy on your planet, it would be as if it were what you would call a United Nations ship. Did not come from any one particular civilization.
Yes. You have in the past shared with us different stories, not only among the dolphins, but among your people. Is there a particular story or legend that they are carrying on their journey, that they are delivering to us?
We will deliver this with the assistance of the blending of another consciousness at another time. But not yet now. All right? All right. But you are perceiving that that is yet to come. That was a part of what you took with you in that identification. You follow it?
Yes.
But the timing has not quite unfolded. But it will.
That'll just allow my son to go.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, you. Okay.
Bashar?
One moment. You are next.
Bashar, you had talked about signature vibration.
Okay.
Do they have physical representation for each individual, and if they do, how can you source that?
You have access to your own signature vibration. It is simply that chord that moves you the most, the one that is also perhaps, in a sense, easiest when you are at your absolute most relaxed and centered, easiest for you to, quote-unquote, sing or hum. that will be representative of the overall tonal vibration of your physical body, your physical consciousness, your physical awareness, and also it will be an indicative link to the other levels of your consciousness in non-physical reality. Everyone is recognized, no matter how many times their personality shifts, or no matter how many overlays they place upon it, everyone is recognized by what we refer to as the signature vibration. It is simply the frequency that makes you different from everyone else.
So you're saying this is something that is more heard than seen?
It can be simply felt, but you will find that, generally speaking, the closest you may get to it in physical terms is, yes, through your auditory sense. Because then it will be the tonal pattern that allows every single cell in your body to say, ah, yes, I recognize that as my idealized zero-rest state tonality. That is who we are. That is who I am. Evolving. The level zone that represents whatever chord moves you the most.
Is it possible to assist someone in discovering that in themselves?
Go right ahead and begin. What do you think is yours? Are you in a state of idealized relaxation? All right. Then when you are, simply hum to yourself, sing to yourself. When you hit it, it will allow your entire body, not only your physical body, but your emotional body, from right here to vibrate. You'll feel it. You'll tingle all over. You'll know. One sign, physically, that you may get is that colors may look a little brighter when you hit the tone. All right?
All right. One other question.
Yes.
Sometimes when I do things or talk to people or just do my excitement,
Yes.
I see purple geometric flashes.
Yes. You are tapping through the crown chakra into the very basics of the astral and causal plane, which many times are interpreted by your physical. You are tapping through the crown chakra into the very basics of the astral and causal plane, which many times are interpreted by your physical consciousness as abstract geometric forms, because it represents the so-called building blocks of physical reality. You are creating a physical interpretation of the geometric matrix of the vibratory pattern of the fundamental energy that creates physical reality. Evolve. Find you having fun. Enjoy the show.
Bashar,
Good.
this morning I was reading an article called The Anatomy of Ecstasy, in which some scientists were explaining what's going on when we're in this state of cosmic consciousness.
Right.
And what I gathered from that is that when both hemispheres of the brain are firing simultaneously, we will be in that state of unity of being.
Yes. And also you will allow yourself to, let both hemispheres fire simultaneously when you realize that you actually do function as one brain and stop thinking of yourself as a split being into two hemispheres.
So what suggestions do you have for me in terms of...
I just gave you one. Stop thinking of yourself as a split being, split into two hemispheres. Begin to recognize that there is always communication going on in the total brain at once. If you wish, therefore, in your imagination, visualize that you are, the total consciousness that you are, is at the very center of your brain. And at the same time, in your visualization, in your imagination, in the dimension of your imagination, imagine this. Everything, everyone, every situation, every object, every attitude, every experience that you tend to think of as representations of the externalized reality, they are all you. All you. All you. So, imagine your consciousness is, at one and the same time, at the very center of your brain, straddling, if you wish, the two hemispheres. touching both hemispheres, if you wish to tend to think of it that way, and at the same time, see yourself as all that you experience. See all that you experience as yourself. Then you will create a stronger link and a bridge between the inner reality and the outer reality, and you will recognize that the outer reality is the inner reality, and that the nomenclature in and out is all arbitrary. You are a single consciousness. You are a single event. You follow me?
Yes.
You will blend cause and effect into one event, and will live in now, here and now, all of it, functioning, pulsing as one idea, one event. Sleep on it. Thank you very much.
Sure.
There will be but a few moments remaining for this interaction. Proceed.
Yes. Speaking of sleep, some of us have been very excited about the idea of lucid dreaming. In fact, we were talking about it earlier. Would you explore a little bit of that, how we can more easily put ourselves into that state, and what is it about realizing that you're dreaming that you become so excited that you break the connection and come back to your body?
Many times, when you create a certain type of excitement that you do not have the experience of feeling any other way other than the way you have felt it in your body, you will not think that you can experience it in a non-physical sense. So when you create within you a vibration that you're only used to feeling in physical ways, you will snap yourself back to an environment that you think is necessary to experience it. It is simply habit, that is all. You can get over it. In this way, allow yourself to simply recognize that you are living a dream right now, as we have discussed many times. And you can allow the physical dream to begin to blend with the non-physical dream, so that you always know that you are, at one at the same time, dreaming and also wide awake. Allow yourself to know more and more that you are in control of the events in your physical reality, and it will leak into your dream reality to allow you to know you are in control of the events there, and that you have the ability at any given moment to determine what you will allow in your dream reality as an experience and what you will not, so that you will be able to determine your control over the dream reality, which will in turn reinforce your ability to know you have ultimate control over the physical dream as well. You follow me? Know you are dreaming right now. Begin to create, as you are doing, the reality you prefer. That will leak over into the dream reality will leak over into the physical reality, and once again, you will remove the idea, you will dissolve the idea that the dream reality and the physical reality are two separate realities. It is all one reality. All one reality.
Yes, I've been experiencing that more and more.
You are lucidly dreaming now.
I got that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, please.
What part of I am you and what part of you are me?
All. 100% in both directions. But how you may specifically mean that can be taken in the following way. You are a multidimensional being. I am a multidimensional being. There are intersections wherein we overlap. Those intersections are determined by what it is you choose to experience yourself to be in this life. You say, I will set up this scenario so that I can experience my personality, I can experience my consciousness in this way. If that scenario will overlap with other scenarios, then when I meet those standing wave patterns, when I meet those intersections, they will reinforce themselves to add to the momentum of the path I chose to lead. You have common threads in you, common to us. We have threads in us that are common to you. When those threads cross, and when your consciousness in moving along your thread, and our consciousness in moving along our thread, come together face to face, then we simply share that part of the total equation that we both separately are. Thank you very much. each and every one of you at this time, allow us to extend to you our appreciation and our unconditional love and gratitude in allowing us to experience the unique manifestation of consciousness that each and every one of you individually and collectively are. We thank you for this gift, for it allows us to see all the different ways that all that it has of expressing itself within the vibrant and vital creation that it is. You are just as vibrant. You are just as vital. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt if you choose to doubt at all. Allow yourself to know that you are the light. You have the ability together, an individual, to represent the shining of the light of infinite creation through the vow, through the prism that you chose to be. And when you let that inner light shine, it will dispel all shadows of a doubt in your life. The path that you are will be transparent, crystal clear. You have only to decide now, consciously, that you will begin to live as you prefer to live, that you will begin to live as the being you know is true for you. There is no one way. There are an infinite number of ways to express yourself and your connection and your relation to all that is, to infinite creation. Once again, if there were only one way, there would only be one person. Look around. You are all the different ways. We, with you, all beings within creation, are all the different ways infinite creation has of expressing itself within the creation it is. You are co-creators. Create the way you prefer to create. For create you always will, whether it be positive or negative. So create the way you prefer to create. And once again, allow us to remind you all you need to do, in whatever way that works for you, is to wake up and dream. Each and every one of you is as powerful as you need to be to create anything you desire in life without having to hurt anyone else or yourselves in order to create it. That's how powerful you are. Wake up to that. Dream the reality that you are. Pleasant dreams. Thank you.